overview with it. Anything that you need for the registration, if it's something that you want to do, anything that you need is loaded for you up on Google Classroom. It is, I think it's the second heading. So we got our note presentations, notice them under the classwork part, and then the CHS registration. I have the CHS website, which is through Pitt, and then some normal FAQs that tend to show up through Pitt, but then there's the Aspire website, and that's where you would go through and register for the credits if you want to. I'm going to collect your stuff by April the 15th, so that's going to be 2 weeks from this Friday coming up, all right? But Aspire, you would need a course code, which I've provided for you, COMMRC. February 15th. April 15th is tax day. But not this year. It's April 17th. So Mr. Weber and I, and some of you, have more days. February 5th. Look, he's making me nervous.
Aren't you in tenure also?
Yeah. Hey, you can never be too sure, Ben. When I ask a question, raise your hand no matter what.
Don't worry.
Left hand means you know the answer, right hand means you don't. But your left and my left are going to be different, so we'll probably mess it up anyway. So when you sign up through Aspire, and again, you signing up for CHS credit is solely up to you. It's not any course requirement for us. It's going to ask for a course code, which is right here for you, Communication Rhetoric 0500. Then it's going to ask for a section code, which I have here. Let me know if this causes you any problems, because normally the section code is like 5 numbers, dash, and then a couple numbers, and I don't have the dash and the other couple numbers for my second semester class. So I'm assuming that'll work, but if not, let me know ASAP so I can get back to Pitt and let them know that we need more stuff there for it. But when you go on through Aspire, you'll register for the class. If you are taking PropStat this semester, so that would be Mrs. Felt or Mrs. Robleski. Mr. Keenan has a CHS class. Do you know? It's new this year, right?
Yeah,
Cybersecurity.
Yeah, Cyber's. Anyone taking that one this semester?
I'm taking CHS.
Okay, well, I don't think that one's through Pitt though.
No, it's through C.
So if you are, well, here, let's just do it this way. Is anyone taking PropStat this semester? Okay, so we don't have to worry about it. So you would simply go onto Aspire, fill out the information, and then you have to print out a page. You need to get a parent signature or guardian signature, and then you have to give that page to me, and I sign it, and then you also give me the check. Just make sure the check is made out to University of Pittsburgh. You're not making it out to Mr. Kane, you're not making it out to Mr. Weber, you're not making it to Northville School District, but that would be a $245 check for University of Pittsburgh. If finances would be the only reason why you would not sign up, talk to me about it in private. Pitt does have scholarship money available. It's always cryptic as to how much there is, so I don't know. I think it's basically on a first come, first serve. So it could be a little bit of an issue with us being a second semester class that there might not be as much left, but we can always try. You know, and so with us still having the time, we'd be able to try to make that work. So, any questions? Stuff comes to me. I'll take care of then all mailing it in. It takes a little while for confirmation because we'll get parents going, how come the check hasn't been cashed yet? It could be a little while before it does, but we can always make sure things are okay. Nicole, anything?
I just didn't know if this was like, I don't know, kind of, this is for if you want the credit and you want to hand it in the check.
Right, so this would be if you want to sign up for the CHS credit through Pitt. This is probably a more slam dunk decision for seniors. Because if you're a senior and you know you're going to Pitt, this would make a lot of sense. $245 for 3 credits is an absolute steal. Juniors, not sure where we're going to be going yet. It can be a little bit more of a question. If you go to Pitt, you get the 3 credits for the class as well as whatever the GPA is for the class. So if you end up getting an A in the course, you get a 4.0 on your Pitt transcript. You decide to go to, University of... You're going to college. You're not going to university. You're going to Grove City College. So Katie goes to Grove City College. Most likely they would transfer the credits over, but I can't pinky swear on that because there's not a master list. because most schools within their liberal arts, there's some kind of speech, communication, debate class that they want, like a public speaking course that they want you to take, this tends to take the place of that. So,
And when does this need to be?
so 2 weeks by Friday, the 15th of February. Not April.
If it's April, it's really big.
But that's next month, because it's still January. So,
I need it.
there we go.
I would like 3 more days, right?
Anything else? Yeah, well, no, Friday will be our first day, so, yeah. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you, this month went by so slow. Like ridiculous.
That's usually how it goes with the January, February grind, so, oh well.
You guys are sentenced for seniors. So you're basically on the back swing of your whole life. Your life doesn't get much better than this.
Okay. Well, I aligned my smartboard so it actually writes where I want it to write. You can do this on a scratch piece of paper. It's not something that you're going to turn into me. And honestly, you could probably put it in on the copy of your article if you want with too much pressure. In your own words, you're not quoting from Wanky. You may agree with her, you may not, but give me like 1 at most 2 sentences definition of what you would constitute as academic cheating. Academic. 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 Academic.
Should we write about relational cheating?
Well, we know long-term relationships are doomed to fail.
You know this.
Actually, they're not doomed to fail.
Actually, they're not.
Because you won. You
Mark
won.
Fact.
You
Teacher
lost.
fact. You know why? You can't fight with I have a dream.
Just so you know, Aid and I are convinced that you were staring at him while you were doing this.
I 110% was.
Okay.
You know I was. Like this.
Oh, you were.
We decided on Friday that long-term relationships are not doomed to fail.
Where is that?
I'm gonna
Where
toss
are you?
I'm a testament to that.
You okay? See, there you go.
Had those. Sorry.
You have a reliable figure.
There we are.
Isn't that ethos? Someone that's reliable.
Yeah, that would be ethos.
Go against it. Oh.
All right, focus back. Academic cheating. Give me 1 to 2 sentences. 1 to 2 sentences. Academic. What constitutes cheating within school? Come on, there we go. And it's not what did Wanky say constitutes, but what do you? So she could argue that some things are, or her teachers could, or your teachers could, or your principals could, that you could go, no, it is not. At no point will I make you state when you did cheat, if you cheated. If you want to say today, earlier, first period, you can.
You know me and Ben cheated on each other.
With that midterm.
Yeah.
From our very, very
From our like super close to the school class.
So we're going to ask for a definition, which will take some here, and I'll paraphrase them. And then to maybe not complicate matters, but just to get into a little bit more idea, examples of it. And again, that doesn't mean, yesterday was Sunday. Last Thursday during third period, this is what I did, but just what would be methods that people would use to cheat. And we can get administrative point of view if they agree or disagree.
So we're brainstorming methods of cheating.
No, we're mentioning things that you would. Here's what's probably going to happen is you'll argue that something is not cheating that I might go, well, I think it is.
And
You know,
just a fist fight breaks out. Throw a chair
so
at
we're going to separate. All right, Aiden, what do you have as a definition?
I said that it's using resources other than your own thoughts and work to get better scores or grades.
Okay, so resources beyond own thoughts. You said for better scores or grades?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone have an issue with that definition? You might want to add something onto it, but like disagree with anything with it?
I would say like if you're breaking class or school rules, so like that, like you can use other people's resources if you're allowed to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not necessarily illegal.
And this will probably get into the little conversations that are going to unfold today. Are you saying resources that are acknowledged as being allowed, or
So what I wrote is willful breaking of either class or school rules during related to schoolwork, homework, classwork, or tests.
okay? So you said willful breaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Of school or class rules. Okay. And then what was the part after? I know it was
Related
similar.
to schoolwork.
Related to schoolwork. Okay. So willful breaking of school or class rules related to schoolwork. I'm thinking if we went around the room and everyone gave a definition, they're probably going to start to all kind of sound the same or be very similar. Anybody have anything that you would add or take away or something that would be fairly different from what these two are? Okay. Anyone want to admit to cheating? I mean, you already took Katie's dad's shirt today, so
I mean,
you cheated. What?
You're not really.
Parents can be mad.
You guys are all
Not
liars.
recently though.
What was the percentage that she threw out? Didn't remember the percentage?
98%.
She says 98%. You agree or disagree with that percentage?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I would say 99%. I'd honestly say 99%.
So you're not going to go all the way up to 100.
No, because
Okay.
I want to have that little. I want to like
I don't know any
price is
Yeah, I
right
don't know anyone who
almost,
has them.
and like, because if I give 100%, if I ask like 10 people, and they
Right.
all say, if 9 people say it,
Vast majority.
yeah.
Actually, maybe Emerson hasn't
I
cheated.
think that what she said about like how now it's like college-bound kids,
Mhm.
like if that's surprising anyone, it's not surprising me at all because it's like people today, I feel like don't even look at it as cheating, or like they wouldn't call it cheating because that sound has a bad connotation.
I think, yeah.
Help on homework.
And I don't think as by the fact that most of them tend to be college bound. I mean, if you're saying 98, 99, I kind of want to go 100%, but I'm not going to quite go that far. I mean, if you're saying 98, 99% of the majority of the student body is going on to college, therefore a vast majority of them are going to be cheating. I would say probably elementary years when we tend to be more naive. You kind of think of, well, you're going to cheat so that you don't fail, so that you don't get in trouble. I don't think in 3rd and 4th grade, well, maybe. I don't think in 1st and 2nd grade you're necessarily not so much about college, but I'm not worried about what's my test score compared to Katie's test score, compared to G Grant's test score, compared to Jenna's.
It's like your
You know.
motive for cheating is different.
Right. Whereas now, you know, when people expect to go to college, anticipate to go to college, the pressure is on that if I want to get into school A, B, or C, I'm not allowed to have a B, which is false, but that's kind of the pretense that we end up being under. Mackenzie?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like people who are trying to go to college are gonna try harder to get better scores. Like obviously, they're college bound because why would you cheat on something to do better if you're not even worrying about your academics?
What the big picture is.
Yeah. If you're not worried about your like going on to college, then you don't need to worry about grades and you don't need to worry about cheating.
So, like, in a situation like that, the idea would be I don't want to be stuck at, whether it's for an assignment or a semester grade or whatever, I'd be more concerned about getting that 89 to a 90 so it looks nice on the transcript to have the pointy letter. Whereas if my plan is to jump into the workforce right away, I have a job lined up with my dad's restaurant or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's a 77% or an 81%, I'm still going to graduate. I'm still going to be able to get that career that I'm anticipating.
I think
We're going to do that soon.
I think like with like the definition of cheating, like the 2% of people say that they don't cheat. Like I think it's because they don't like there's different definitions of it. Like with Spark Notes and stuff like that. Everybody's used Spark Notes at least once in their life, and like that would be like a form of like academic dishonesty. So like even if they're like doing it just because they don't have time to read or like they're just too busy.
And something.
it's still,
There we go. I didn't mean to cut you off. Something like Spark Notes And I said we would kind of get into, all right, what would you constitute cheating? And we're kind of starting to get into there. And Katie, will still come over to you, and then Nicole. Resources beyond own thoughts for better scores. I almost said belts. Boy, that handwriting's bad. For better scores and grades. Word for word, SparkNotes would be cheating with your definition. For Byron's, it would kind of depend. Where if I said, you have to read short stories for Wednesday, you must read these short stories in this print, no other resources for those short stories. At that point, it would be heavily implied, don't use SparkNotes. But I don't think SparkNotes shows up in any handbook. We don't have the 10 Commandments that
What's his face?
Lynn Westmoreland.
We
I've
actually-
never heard that guy's name.
He's no longer in Congress. He did get reelected, though. He served 2 terms. But we don't have a list of 10 Commandments saying, "Thou shalt not use SparkNotes." Yeah. No,
Maybe
yeah.
a license
It's-
to
it's-
advance.
Specify sometimes like for specific things.
Sure.
You're allowed to use I know for Shakespeare books.
Well,
We knew it was- we knew it was-
And I have the SparkNote quizzes where here's the summary from SparkNotes. Now tell me something beyond it. Which, if a person read SparkNotes,
They're like,
crap. If you didn't read SparkNotes, oh well, you still should be able to provide some details. Now I think some people kind of get offended by it a little bit, where you're giving me a SparkNotes quiz because you're implying that I only read SparkNotes. So it does kind of have a little bit of a double edge to it. But willful breaking of school, not many people know those anymore. They're still around. SparkNotes wouldn't, but yeah, with yours, because it's going beyond. Now, some folks will go, well, I read, and then I went to SparkNotes to make sure I understood what I read, and I'm taking Nicole's answer, I guess, now. Then you could kind of argue, all right,
I
is
think,
it,
with the way I wrote that, if you're kind of using it to check your understanding, I guess that's not cheating. You're just confirming your beliefs, I guess. But
unless those beliefs don't confirm what you thought.
then if it's not you're taking
Yeah.
what they say. So.
Katie, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, I think, kind of what Aiden said before, when you're in elementary school, the kids who cheat are the ones who, willfully did not prepare and don't know what they're doing. But the kids who cheat in high school are the ones who, did prepare, but just can't risk failing.
Yep.
So, you can, when they cheat, it's not that they're not smart, or that they're not prepared, they're just I really need this in. It's too bad,
Emmy.
Well,
Well, then we're back down.
I was waiting. You
Okay.
said-
We'll go Evie, then we'll come to you. Then if she steals your answer, you'll be mad at 2 people.
and
For her more recently than me.
if you were using outside resources, I know everyone at one point in math homework, they always are how do you do this?
Crystal, she said everyone, so she's talking about you.
Pretty much afterwards, if you're on doing math homework, especially you're okay, how do you do this problem? And then usually they would show you the work, use it to help yourself, in your own grades.
Don't speak, Nicole's going to speak.
Okay, so SparkNotes, I would use SparkNotes with I'm reading a book that's not even for class. If I'm reading a book and I don't understand what I'm reading, because that happens a lot. I'll look at SparkNotes and be like, what did I just read? It's I'll read the book, but I can use SparkNotes to help me. Because if you don't get it, you don't get it. You really need help.
And so, and you preface that by it doesn't even have to be for school.
Yeah. it doesn't
You
have to be
could
school.
you could just be reading whatever. I want to make sure I'm getting this correctly.
Yeah.
thought process is a dictionary.
Well, I wouldn't want dictionary
If you
to
don't
a
understand the
word.
word, just look it up.
Yeah, it could depend. I would say it could depend on context.
Going back to Emmy with the math, I feel like cheating is available to us because even in the math books there are answers in the back of the book. So for homework you can literally just copy that and you'll get the points.
Still
Most of the time.
still just shows the answers, right?
It does, but then there's also resources that's stated in the book, like Calc Chat,
Yeah,
and those do like the full explanation of how to do a problem.
Yeah.
So
Couch
like,
chat, and then there's what the
the
Socrative app
Yeah, right.
that
Yeah.
you can basically take a picture of it and it'll
yeah, but like
you know.
it's like Couch Chat is like stated in the book that you can use this as a resource. So
Mhm.
it's cheating.
Well, then I feel like the book says you can use it, but like I think it all depends on like,
That's a school issued
Yeah.
book, so we're not breaking a rule.
Oh.
But it all depends on like what the teacher's point of view is. Like they say, I want you to do the work yourself. You can use the book. Don't look at the answers in the back. Don't use anything else. Like, they're telling you the guidelines of what they consider cheating, what is not considered cheating. Another teacher might think it's different.
It's so
Okay, we're gonna go to Ben, then I'm gonna go to Byron, and then we're gonna kind of focus because we could end up going like this for 3 hours.
I
Should be
think,
interesting.
I think there's a difference between cheating and like boosting yourself almost. Because if you did the work and you like had your own individual thoughts about it, and then you check someone, it's like referencing to make sure your ideas are correct. It's like drinking a 5-hour energy. It's like you wake up and you're tired. You can make it through the day, but you just need that little help. You know what I mean? And you're not cheating. You're just
So give me so boosting yourself.
yeah. Like I don't want because it sounds like like there's it's not like I feel like cheating's not cut and dry. It's like it's like malleable. You can use it to whatever you say. Like if I don't have a homework done and someone gives me a homework, I wouldn't call that cheating. I'm just someone's helping me with the homework because maybe I didn't have time to do it last night or I didn't help with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if like so
Sometimes I don't.
from an academic standpoint, like and I don't know, I don't think people would consider this cheating, but who knows? Like say homework. So you and Sam are in homeroom, and you're copying homework problems off of Sam. I would say I would say that is cheating. If you're going, Sam, can you explain this to me? And he gives you a breakdown as to how to go about solving the problem. I would not look at
This
that
is
as
teaching
being
and cheating. Exactly.
you know, so like, you know, you have a reading check quiz, a separate class. Reading check quiz on Wednesday. Hey, did you get like what happened when after they hit the pothole and the car flips over and all that kind of stuff, and then you start filling in details, or what happened in the story? I think would be two pretty different questions. I promise. We'll see.
If we were like talking about Spark Notes, I think like using Spark Notes is only cheating if the teacher says specifically read the book or don't use this. Like there's nothing wrong with trying to find out extra information. If you're talking about math, like going to the back of the book, if the teacher says like do your own work, do your own answers, and don't use the back of the book, but I've had math teachers who say, oh, you can look at the back of the book,
Yeah,
get
it's
the right
in
answer.
teacher's guidelines.
So it just depends from class to class.
Jenna never talks. Jenna wants to speak.
I think if like you're utilizing your resources, like if it's given to you, Spark Notes or in the back of the book, the answers. I think the point is to learn, and that's a way to learn. That's the point of school. So if it's there, just use it.
What do you think about this question?
I think it's necessary.
Is cheating necessary? And I would say, like, when using the term cheating, and we can get into resources and all that kind of stuff, because I think that's a good point. Assuming the idea that cheating is assuming that you have a teacher who probably will not approve. When it's all said and done, whether it be a quick little boost or what. I feel like you're going to rob a place. We're going to boost the bank. It's going to make my day go better. Do you think cheating is necessary for you to, I'll just say, succeed? Assuming that would have an academic connotation to it, but you could kind of go in some other directions as well.
Well, I was just gonna say that depends on your personal values. Like, if you're really against cheating, then obviously it's not necessary. But if it depends. Like, if you're just the circumstances. Like, if your parents really want you to do good, and you're trying really hard, and you can't do anything else, or if you want to go to college, nothing's working. It depends on just how your values.
Ultimately, what do you say?
I don't know. I'm really 50-50.
Derek?
Okay, I'm gonna like kind of put it towards like sports, like and kind of like practicing.
Uh-huh.
Like in baseball, like there will be games where I go like 4 straight games and I don't get a hit and I'm mad at myself. So immediately like I want to like boost it, I guess. Like I want to obviously like I want to hit like doubles and home runs and stuff
Right.
and not strike out. So like at the end of the day, I'll go practice and like get better at it. So I feel like it's not necessary, but like if I were to just go take steroids, like yeah, that would help, but it's not necessary.
Don't do that.
Katie said don't do that.
I won't take it.
I think without like everyone agreeing on a concrete definition of what academic cheating is, it's really hard to determine
Not gonna happen.
2 people saying like, I think cheating is necessary, I think it's not. It's like even like saying that it's necessary, like to me, you don't have to cheat on every assignment, every test to do well in class. Like if you study really hard and you do all your own work and you're confident in
Like I would say I think the most common form of cheating, and I would constitute this as being cheating. Okay, and I don't know if it would. I bet most teachers probably would. Do we have to know that for the test? So you take the test first period. I'm taking it 5th period. Do I need, or is there an essay question about reconstruction?
If it's something specifically on the test.
So I as an educator, I would consider that cheating.
Yeah.
Not because you're not giving me an answer. Like so, assuming you go, yeah, you better prepare for that, or make sure you know the definition of epistrophe for the literary term quiz because he's going to ask you something about it. You're not giving me the answer, but you are giving me an advantage over, and you could say other people in the class. Although in a class of 25, I bet about 20 have had a similar conversation. On the test, what do I need to know? But compared to like you taking it first period, I have an advantage. Now, I think you do get the I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. So, well, on the English TWA, what kind of question was it worded and all that?
I think like for the person that studies really hard and knows like the definition of epistrophe, like they're even like then the person who didn't prepare at all and just knows from somebody else that that's what you have to know. Like even though they know the same information now, the person who didn't prepare still has the advantage because they don't deserve to get the same reward as the person who like studied hard.
Correct. Yeah, I would say so.
I think
Nicole, come over to you.
I think cheating is necessary dependent on the teacher, who your teacher is, because I know some teachers who are like super strict about getting homework done, and there are just some times where like I don't get home until like 10 p.m. at night, and then I'm up until like 2 a.m. trying to finish his homework. So then I have to be like, hey, can you send me the homework, which would constitute as cheating. But I know other teachers who are like if you're having a busy day, just email me and we can like work something out.
Mhm.
So like if you have a really strict teacher in that sense, cheating would be necessary because homework can be such a big percentage of your grade. They're like, oh, it's easy points, so it's worth 50% of your grade. If you're like a really busy person, like Harry with baseball, like sometimes like I'm sure games like take over like all of your time, and like practice takes over all of your time, so it's not easy points.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say I don't think it's necessary because there is like I don't know if this is true, but the 90% there is 2% of people that don't cheat and that do.
Assuming that's not the bottom 2% of the class.
Yeah, it's like those people are actually trying and really want to do good, and they don't rely on cheating. They rely on remembering stuff and having that in their brain so they'll know it later. So I think when someone who studied and even if someone does cheat and they didn't cheat on a certain test and they got like an 85 and then another person cheated and got like a 90, it's kind of I don't know the word, but it's kind of unfair to the person who actually did try and did really like good when they cheated compared to the person that actually
And why is it unfair?
just because they spent a lot of time preparing and I get it.
Well, and even from like a statistical standpoint, like why would we look at? Because I like the way that you worded it. Someone got a B, someone got an A. What is going to make the average person go, well, that's unfair? Because the second person got a what? got a 90%, and the other person got an 85%. So we're looking at the difference between student A and student B as being 5%. What is her overall argument? Because her overall argument isn't that people cheat too much, but like what is she trying to drive home at? People that cheat succeed. And again, it's a multifaceted argument. So people who cheat succeed. That's not the argument.
I'm sorry.
He did say may, he didn't say can, so I guess we have to let him go.
I would think that she was kind of going towards the thing that cheating is necessary. Because in today's environment, because just because you say you won't cheat does not mean nobody else.
But what causes it?
What causes it? Desire to succeed.
All right, one thing's pressure, Nicole.
I think that she's saying that people cheat not because they're bad people, but because of the amount of pressure, because of like all the weight that's put on them, everything.
And that weight is being placed upon them by
Parents.
sometimes, but her main institution, her main argument is it's the school's fault.
Yeah.
Because from the school standpoint, and this is when your disgruntled English teacher can go in classic student format, she blames the school. You can argue that that's valid or not, but I'll just take the disgruntled approach. According to her, a school would value what over what?
Success over integrity.
And we could put in, a lot of different terms that are going to go with it. Yeah, success, integrity.
Grades over learning.
Grades over learning, knowledge ends up being, knowledge, test scores, all that kind of stuff. Her argument is, until this becomes the primary pursuit, all hope is lost. So if that student who got the 85% from what Nicole was saying, if that student gets the 85%, and that's like a 17, just making up a number, a 17-point growth from a previous test, and that growth comes from the fact that he or she put in the effort, was looking over notes, was studying, conferencing with teacher or whatnot. By that student going up 17%, he or she should feel deep satisfaction about it. Whereas the person who got the 90% and skated by internally should not feel, hey, I succeeded a whole lot because I didn't really do anything to put in the work. You could have a 1 for 4 day, no strikeouts, solid contact, all 4 at bats, but just one gets in and feel good about it. Or someone else could go 3 for 4, and really it should have been 3 errors that took place. Box score 750 average, 250 average, but you still feel good about what I did. I know I've had students where I pass back an essay and they get a B- on it, and it's not a 4.
Yeah, that's true.
I got a 6.
Those like kill you.
This is like good. Where others, why did I get a 7+, which is a 90%? This should be an 8. So those are situations where I've proven to myself that I've gained this, and you know what? It is paying off. But maybe from that grade standpoint, it's not as valuable as it should be. And I mean, you can think about courses that you're in where maybe a C+ in a physics test means a heck of a lot more to you than a B+ does, on a Spanish exam.
I think maybe part of the problem is that, we have grades. Like I was thinking when you said, like, if you never knew that the person who cheated got a 90, you wouldn't worry about it because if you only knew that you did well and you understood the material, you wouldn't even need, so if the teacher just said, oh, you understand the material, like, if it was that instead of like, oh, you A, B, whatever, like that would be a more helpful learning system. I don't think it would be practical to work out in school, but it would be maybe more helpful for the.
And I don't have enough data for this, but like I swear, growing up, and again, this was like Stone Age. We didn't go, hey Jenna, what'd you get on the test? Like when they were getting passed out, Whereas, I think, hey, what'd you get? Okay, and scores are kind of being shouted across where there is more, I'd say, comparison taking place. You knew who the really smart kids were. You knew where, oh, that did better than me. You know, so you had that ranking was still there, but I feel like now it's more open as to what the numbers actually are.
So I don't feel like the 98% to 2%, like going back to that, like comparing, like that 2%, they might do really well, but like that 98% is probably like, because like we're all really busy. Like all of us have stuff that we have to do. We're all like, we don't have time to lay us down and like do our work and like study for like hours for like a test. So like that 2% might be like the kids who don't, like this gets not really bad, but like don't do anything other than school. So they probably have that time to just sit down and like just study after school for like however long and like it's good motivation and like so much.
Why are you going to college?
Be successful.
In what?
Environmental science.
Why are you going to college? For those of you who are.
Get a job.
Get a job?
To be able to work in the field.
Okay, have a degree.
To not be poor.
And blanket statement. I feel that most of us go to school to get a specific degree to get us a specific job. Where originally, and I realize we're going back centuries, and you could even argue that this isn't the case, but we like to think it is in our rosely colored glasses. What's the reason of going to college or higher education? To learn, to pursue, knowledge. Now, you still have people going to college for medicine, for law, for the church. A lot of clergy would be college at that time. But certainly, as the number of people, more and more people go to college, what's the main selling benefit that we say? You'll earn more money.
Because college is not cheap.
So I need to do, and yeah, that's not helping the fact of the matter. So I need to get there to get a job to be successful. If learning isn't the primary objective of going there, then you're probably not going to be as concerned about learning, integrity, those things from the high school level. So as we talk about AP exams, Keystone exams, SAT, ACT, we do end up putting, I would say, as a school, and not just a North Hills issue, but probably, in the nation, we put more emphasis on grades. It looks good for us to say 100% of our students are going to a four-year institution. It's kind of hard to quantify our students have learned. So tomorrow, Toolman model, we're going to talk about how we formulate arguments and then how we go about supporting them. And so this is going to be one of our kind of arguments that we're looking at. So tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to do Toolman model stuff. That'll lead into what we're doing on Fridays. Have a good one. Wait, Mr. Weber, on your way.
See you guys.
Okay, we'll look this time.
Good work. Very intriguing.
Like that's how like
My first year at North Hills, I had a principal in for this conversation too. So I've come full circle now.
Look at that. Look at that. Impeccable.